everyone. Happy Tuesday and happy So What Day. I'm Ellen March and I'm the content director for Sulky of America. If you are joining for the first time, give me a shout out in the live chat or in the comments below so that I can say hello and welcome. Today I have a fun project to share with you that is a nod to St. Patrick's Day, but I'm going to show you and discuss a lot of variations as usual. That's what we do here on So What, is kind of come together and contribute our ideas so that we can personalize the featured project that I'm showing you and make it our own, because that's one of the things that is so great about sewing, right? We get to make things our own and, not have anything mass produced. This makes a great gift as well. Doesn't take a lot of fabric and materials. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Also, you can sew the entire thing by hand, or you can sew it on your machine. So options for people who don't have easy access to a sewing machine as well. All right. Okay, I'm finally seeing some chatting going on. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Mary. All right. Also, let me know where you're watching from. If you are participating in that live chat or posting something to the comments, whether it's a question that you have for me today or just saying hello. Sulky, which is a pack of one of our stabilizers. It's going to be a pack of Sulky Stiffy Stabilizer, and it's featured in our project today. So be sure you're giving me those thumbs up. You're posting your questions and comments in the chat. And you also need to like us on Facebook if you're watching there, or subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching there, so that I can contact you if you happen to be the winner of today's Sulky gift. That's right. All right. Anne is asking, is Sulky going to the Sew Expo this week in Atlanta? Yes, actually. You will see some Sulky educators there. So if you are in the area, definitely stop by the Sew Expo and check that out. Hi, Colleen. Good to see you. All right. Lots of people saying very windy, stormy, all those things. We were supposed to get a blizzard last night and woke up this morning to totally dry streets. So, it's springtime. Spring is fickle. What can I say? We're always saying one day it's 65 degrees, the next day it's a blizzard and 10 below. You just never know what's going to happen. So, but that really does mean that spring is on its way. Couple more weeks, it will be officially springtime. So we've got blooming flowers and green grass and all kinds of refresh and renewal to look forward to. So that's fantastic. Another really awesome thing happening right now at sulky.com. It is the best promo of the year. It's our free shipping promo. No minimum on your purchase, and you can get free shipping. So make sure to jot down this coupon code, which happens to be free shipping, all caps. This is good until midnight on the 10th of March. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of things today that you might want to add to your cart while we're chatting. So you can open up a new window on your browser if you're on a computer, and go to sulky.com and start adding some things to your cart, because you don't have to pay for shipping today. So exciting. All right. I wanted to showcase some things you might want to add to your cart before we get to today's project, because I love the free shipping so much. I wanted to inspire you with some new things that we have at sulky.com. So super cute tees are in the store right now, straight from QuiltCon. All you need is thread t-shirts, courtesy of Sulky. So, could this be any cuter? We have some other t-shirts as well. One of them says Quilty Vibes. Very, very cute. You can grab up one of these t-shirts at sulky.com. Use that code free shipping and send it to yourself as a little gift. Love it. Also, with Easter coming up, we have some really, really cute little stuffed animal blanks that you can personalize with machine embroidery. This little one, it's called a Bunny by the Bay. Actually, what is this one called? It's called the I Love You Heart Bunny. Okay, so adorable. And guess where you embroider this guy? Right on the ear. So you can add a little name. Maybe there's a new baby coming and you can put their birth date on there. So cute. And you can hoop this up in your embroidery machine, and so great to have a little personalized bunny in the Easter basket, or just for a little, newbie to the world, a birthday, something like this. Bunnies and lambs and all of these fuzzy things just scream springtime. We also have these really cute little blanket buddies. So it's a little bunny with a little blanket attached with that nice satin edging, and you can embroider right on that satin edging, again with a name or maybe a birth date or happy Easter or something like this for a little baby or toddler to enjoy. So these are all brand new at sulky.com, and we also have some other variations as well. So check out the cute little embroidery blanks. All right. So you also might want to take this free shipping opportunity into account, because our Kitchen Stitchin' webcast is happening next Tuesday. That's right. 1 week from today, we will be going live over at sewingonline.sulky.com for our Kitchen Stitchin' webcast. And coincidentally, this webcast is in partnership with AccuQuilt, but you do not need to have a fabric cutter, an AccuQuilt Fabric Cutter, or any of the dies in order to participate in this webcast. And, if you do have one, or if you're interested in one, I'm actually going to show you a little video today that's going to kind of give you an overview on what these machines look like, what the dies look like. So maybe I should do that before we even get to today's project, because today's little key fob, I actually used a hexi die in my AccuQuilt Fabric Cutter to create my little hexis for today's Shamrock keyring. Now, again, you don't have to have a fabric cutter in order to create this project or the ones that are featured in this webcast, so anybody can join. But I'm just going to show you how much easier it is to cut out all these pieces, especially if you want to make something like this for a gift for, every teacher in your kids' class, or, for a family reunion, everybody gets a personalized key fob, something like that, where you would need to cut tons of hexis. Or if you're just making an English paper piecing project, a pretty pieced pillow or a tote bag, or even a full quilt, can you imagine all the time you will save by using a fabric cutter to create all those hexis? And they're perfectly cut so that when you go and piece them together, you don't have any, mismatched seams when you're aligning them to sew them together. All right, so as I mentioned, you might want to grab up your Kitchen Stitchin' kit if you haven't already, if you're joining us next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, because free shipping code at checkout, right? All right, so that's what the kit looks like. We will be making the kitchen towel that has that beautiful bird machine embroidery applique design, and then we will also be making a mini oven mitt. So in the kit, you will get some Insulbrite batting, which is insulated batting, so you can be safe when you're using your oven mitt and not have any heat transfer to your hands. Also, some cotton batting, so you can layer it up and have it be more plushy. 2 beautiful fabrics, a pack of Sulky Perfect Applique Fusible Web, and a pack of Sulky Soft and Sheer Stabilizer, as well as all the threads that you see here for the embroidery and the construction of the oven mitt. So, absolutely love that. All right, and I just realized, let's see, I want to play this video for you. Let me go and find it here so that you can see what these Sorry, what? I'm trying to find this and talk at the same time. It's a little nerve-wracking, so bear with me a moment. But I want to show you this so you can see, here we go, here it is, the benefits of using these fabric cutters and the ones that we are going to feature in the webcast next Tuesday. So here we go, and after this video, we're going to start today's project, which also features the hexi dies from the AccuQuilt Fabric Cutting System.
Here's what we have done. We have subcut our fabric
That is totally the wrong video. I'm so sorry, everyone. I really thought that I had this all queued up for us today, but you know what? Sometimes I get it wrong, and you know, we're all human, right? So just a moment. I must find what I've done with it. So hold please. I'm so sorry. All right, here we go. I'm really hoping this is it.
Hey quilters, it's Pam Heller from AccuQuilt. We are super excited to be teaming up with Sulky to get you a So What series. And this series is going to be really fun because we're going to use some AccuQuilt dies to make some really fun kitchen products. So just real quick, AccuQuilt is a fabric cutting system designed for quilters and crafters, 10 times faster than rotary cutters or scissors. We have 3 different cutters. We have our Go Big electric cutter. We have our Go cutter, which is a manual cutter. And then we have our lightweight portable Go Me fabric cutter, which is perfect for quilters and crafters alike. So let's talk about dies. So this is a sample of one of our applique dies. This is our bird die. And here is our cute little mini oven mitt. And we'll notice we've appliqued our little flower onto this die. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to cut with the AccuQuilt system. So I can always cut up to 6 layers of cotton fabric. But today, because I'm going to fuse this onto my fabric, I've already pre-fused my fabric. And I'm just going to cut some birds. All right, now you need a cutting mat. Nothing happens without the mat. All right, and I'm going to put it right here into my cutter. There are no blades in the cutter, only in the die. Look how fast and easy this turns. All right, and we're going to slide our mat off. And look at this, quilters. I have cut a perfect bird. Think of how difficult that would be to cut by hand. And then his cute little wing, just like that. So not only do we have applique shapes, we have block on board dies that create blocks that are modern and traditional blocks, but we also have strip dies. How many of you use 2.5-inch strips for your binding, borders, sashing? AccuQuilt has a die for that. 2.5-inch strips. This one will fit through our Go and our Go Big cutter, but we do have one for our Go Me. And it will cut 3 sections of 2.5-inch strips. If you have 6 layers of fabric, you can cut all the binding you need for a queen size quilt in just 1 pass through the cutter. All right, quilters, enjoy this really fun program. We'll see you next time.
All right. Yay, I found the right video. Isn't that great? I'm so glad that they made that for us so that you all can see, you know, just how easy it is to roll the cutter. And they have, you know, different types of cutters. So if you want to get the cutter that cuts it automatically for you, you know, you press a button rather than kind of cranking it, there's that version. And then even that little tiny cutter, which is so portable, so easy to store in your sewing room, you can do a lot of things with that. So I am starting to collect some dies now that I have this system, and it really is a time saver. So speaking of that, I am going to show you, well, you know, we'll get to it. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Penny says, I have so many dies and I love how much time it saves me. I just bought the bird and the mitt dies. Love that. All right. So do these dies work with any machine? So the AccuQuilt dies are specific to the AccuQuilt cutters. So I wouldn't be able to speak to other brands. I just haven't tried them. All right. Let's see. Quilting Friend loves her electronic AccuQuilt cutter. Penny has the electric one. Awesome. So I have the AccuQuilt Go that you crank. And you know, it's really not hard to do. It doesn't really take a lot of muscle or a lot of, you know, oomph. It really just glides through that cutter really, really well. So you can make a lot of oven mitts. And so what's interesting about our event that we're doing next week, the oven mitt, we quilt all the layers together first before we cut out the pieces. And so you've got your lining fabric, your cotton batting, your insulated batting, and then your exterior fabric all quilted together. So that's quite a thick piece, right? And it cuts it all together as one through that cutter. Isn't that amazing? So she said you can cut up to 6 layers of fabric. Well, you can also cut little quilting sandwiches all at once too. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Ronnie says, does Sulky sell it? We do not sell the AccuQuilt, but I did link directly to AccuQuilts in the description of today's post. So you can click on that link. It'll take you to the homepage of AccuQuilt, and then you can shop for the mini oven mitt die or the bird die that we're featuring next Tuesday. You can grab up the hexagon die, which has, let's see, I think I have it right next to me. It has 3 different sizes of hexagons. There's also, you know, circle dies and triangle dies, all kinds of, I mean, it's just amazing. And I love that strip piecing guide or die that she was showing you. I actually used that as well for the oven mitt that I made for next week's event to create the binding. But as she said, if you're going to bind a whole quilt, you can cut out those strips, no problem. All right, so here's the hexagon die that I used for today's project. And I used the middle size, which is 1¼ inch finished. All right, so it includes the seam allowance if you're doing English paper piecing, or if you're just creating hexis for, you know, a different type of quilt. But at any rate, you could see you need a hexagon for the front of this and a hexagon for the back of this. You can also use, what I've discovered is there's hexagon paper templates available in all kinds of sizes out there in the universe. And if you go to the featured products in the description of today's post. So if you're not seeing all the links that I posted today, click on that little see more button and the whole description will pop out for you and you'll find all the links I'm talking about. Where am I going with this? The papers. All right. So if you click on the Shamrock template that I'm providing for all of you, so you can create a little felty Shamrock 3D, or, you know, you can do fusible applique or make it 3D. We'll get to that momentarily. If you click on that, it'll take you to the blog post where the whole tutorial for today's project lives. You'll find a Shamrock little template if you want to use that for your Shamrock key fob. And within that, you will also find links for hexagon paper templates, and actually a link to a blog post that I found when I was kind of developing this project for a great hexi key ring. It's called Molly and Mama. Oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten this? Now I've got to go to it. Because I have to give credit where credit is due. Hold up. Yes, It is called Molly and Mama. And I kind of stumbled upon this tutorial because I had this idea for using leftover English paper piecing hexagons. If any of you are into English paper piecing and you have little travel kits where, you take them with you and, do your hand sewing while you're, waiting for a flight or something like this, trust me, I've seen that a lot, and especially in my craft tours travels. English paper piecing is great to bring with you and, kind of keep your hands busy and bide the time. But anyway, if you've ever done an English paper piecing project, you probably have some leftover hexagons, and they're really easy to cut anyways, or really easy, especially for a project like this that only requires 2. So if you don't have any leftover from a previous English paper piecing project, really easy to cut using the AccuQuilt cutter and the hexagon dies, or you can grab up those paper hexagon templates in the size that you want to create for your key fob. They come in like sheets of, 50 or 25 or something like that. You get so many paper hexagons. Because what happens, let me just go through the tutorial to show you, is that you are essentially wrapping your hexagon seam allowance around either your paper template, or what I would like to use is Sulky Stiffy Stabilizer. Stiffy Stabilizer is today's giveaway for one lucky viewer who is watching, commenting, doing all those things. Stiffy Stabilizer is a little bit more flexible than paper or cardstock, but you are adding it to the front hexagon and the back hexagon, so you have a double layer of Stiffy Stabilizer in here. It's really more conducive to fabric projects. I don't love putting paper inside my projects. Now, with English paper piecing, after you kind of sew your seam allowance around the paper, you can then remove the paper. But for a project like this, it's really recommended to keep it inside so that it hangs nice and proudly, and the corners are nice and it doesn't get all floppy over time. You get the idea. So I would rather use Sulky Stabilizer for this, Sulky Stiffy Stabilizer, because, it has fabric-like qualities. It's meant to be with fabric over time. It's actually a tear-away stabilizer, but since we're not tearing it away, it stays nice and stable, for lack of a better word, throughout the life of your project. All right. So for your materials, you can use the AccuQuilt cutter and a hexagon die, as I mentioned, or paper template, or you can really just draw a hexagon in an Illustrator program, those types of things. Or you can find the free hexagon template at the Molly and Mama link inside of the Sulky blog post. All right. And yes, Ronnie, thank you for mentioning that. I did want to also say that AccuQuilt is having a great sale on their cutters and their dies because it's National Quilting Month and in anticipation of our special event next Tuesday. So you will get these on a great, great sale if you go and check those out today. All right. So you also need some fabric, of course, and this is a great project for fussy cutting a really cute motif. So if you have a little fabric that maybe has a little St. Patrick's Day gnome, or as I mentioned earlier, you can create these for any holiday, absolutely any person's personal interests. If you have a friend who loves panda bears and you have a panda fabric, fussy cut your little hexagon. Maybe put your panda on the side here. I did this intentionally because I knew I was going to add a little felty shamrock to the front of this. Or you could just center your motif and not have a little felty motif at all, and just kind of highlight a cute fabric motif, maybe add some hot fix crystals to it. Or you could choose a blank fabric and center an embroidery design on your hexie, maybe a machine embroidery design or a hand embroidery design. a cute monogram would be perfect on this little guy to personalize it for the recipient. All right, so fabric, and then you need a little D-ring swivel clip. I'm using a 3/4 inch D-ring swivel clip. It's actually quite small when I'm not holding it right up against the screen. So 3/4 inch, 1 inch, you could even go a little bit smaller. You would just need to adjust your little hanger or hanging loop that you create according to your swivel clip or your D-ring size, okay? So speaking of the hanging loop, I used a little scrap of faux leather. I never throw away faux leather and cork fabric scraps. That stuff is pricey, and I always have a little strip or something left over, and I use it so often for things like this. So small little strip is all you need. And the dimensions are in the blog post, but it's about 3/4 inch by 1 3/4 inch. That's all you need. You could also use a piece of grosgrain ribbon for your hanger, just something that's a no fray fabric like cork or faux leather, or even a little loop of felty that matches your felty applique or your felty motif. All right. So speaking of felty, I have 2 green colors of felty that you can see in this picture here. You can use just one color. I thought I was going to use 2. I was going to do a dark shamrock and then a smaller, lighter colored shamrock on top. But after I gathered this together and it made it a little bit dimensional, I thought 1 was all I needed. So plenty of felty colors for any recipient. You could make a little felt heart, a little felt flower, a little felt leaf, maybe a little felt lemon or something like this to suit the recipient. It just gives it a little pop, a little dimensionality to it, so that your key fob isn't so flat. But if you are adding machine embroidery, that would be all that you needed. You could also do a felty motif on the front and a felty motif on the back. So all kinds of things. All right, then we need to cut our hexagons. All right, so I have 2 squares of my quilting cotton fabric and 2 squares of my stiffy stabilizer. And I'm going to cut this hexagon out of each one of those, so 4 layers, all in one pass of the AccuQuilt Fabric Cutter. So if you're using, your paper templates, you can just cut them according to that, adding your seam allowance, of course. Or if you're using, what am I trying to say here? If your paper template or, the pre-made hexagon sort of papers that they make. Okay. All right. Lots to talk about today, so forgive me. All right. Once you have layered your fabrics and stabilizer over the chosen die, then you put your cutting mat on top and run it through the machine if you are using the fabric cutter, of course. Oh, this came in really, really small. Let's make this photo a little bit bigger. There we go. So now the cutting mat is on top and the dies are going to cut the fabric from underneath when you roll this through the fabric cutter. So here I am rolling it through, and I only have fabric on that one die size. But if I wanted to, I could create the larger hexagon, medium, and small all in one pass. Okay, so now I have my 2 fabric hexagons and my 2 stabilizer hexagons. Now I need to cut my stabilizer hexagons down by 1/4 inch on all sizes, on all sides. What's happening to me today? I can't speak. I'm trying really hard. Okay, so the reason we're cutting the stabilizer down is because we're going to fold the raw edges of our hexagon around the stabilizer. So we want that 1/4 inch to be trimmed away. So I'm just going to take my small ruler. This is my favorite ruler. I have 3 of them, okay? We also have these at sulky.com because I love them so much. It's a 1" by 6" OmniGrid clear ruler. And I have one at my cutting table, one at my sewing machine, and one at the ironing board. They're just the best, and they're perfect for transporting with you as well, to check seam allowances, to cut small things like this. I just use it so often. I also like to use it when I want to draw on my stabilizer in the hoop so that I can see my center cross marks a little bit better. It really, really helps with placement of embroidery designs. And it fits right into even my 120 by 120 hoop. It'll fit in there so that I can draw that straight line. Anyways, love this ruler. So you're just going to trim off 1/4 inch of only your stabilizer hexagons. So now you have your fabric hexagons cut to size and your stabilizers cut to size. Hexagons. What's happening? I'm sorry. All right. So again, if you're using the pre-cut hexagon templates, you will then cut your fabric 1/4 inch larger all around than your paper template, okay? But since we're using the AccuQuilt here, I cut everything at once and then trimmed down the stabilizer. Okay, so now you also want to cut out whatever little felty motif you're going to add to your fabric, unless you're doing embroidery or something else on your hexagon. So I have a little green shamrock here that I've cut out of Sulky Felty. I also put some perfect applique fusible web on the wrong side of my shamrock before cutting it out, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to fuse this or if I wanted to make it a little bit more 3D. So I had the option and put some fusible web on the back of the Felty. You don't have to do that. You can have a little bit more dimensionality to your shamrock, or heart or flower or whatever you want to put on here. So options, right? I've got my little hanging loop cut to size, my D-ring, my shamrock, and then of course some Sulky thread. I am using Sulky 50 weight cotton and steel thread. I get a lot of questions about, what does cotton and steel mean? Is it made of steel? No, it's not. So Cotton and Steel is actually a fabric company. So long ago, we teamed up with the Cotton and Steel fabric folks, and we created a line of thread called Cotton and Steel thread. It's 50 weight cotton, high quality, 100% Egyptian cotton thread, and it comes in all these great colors that coordinate with the Cotton and Steel fabric lines. So that's why it's called Cotton and Steel. But it's a really, really fantastic thread for things like English paper piecing, quilting. I even use it as a construction thread for a lot of projects. And we're actually using it in our Kitchen Stitchin' webcast next week to quilt and construct the mini oven mitt. All right. So I've got all my materials waiting in the wings and ready to go. And first things first, I'm going to take my stabilizer hexagons and center them on my fabric hexagons. And I use a little bit of Sulky KK2000. This is our temporary spray adhesive. I think I talk about it every single day. I probably use it every single day. It's amazing stuff. I use it for so many things. So this is what I'm going to use to stick my stabilizer to the back of my fabric hexagons. Once I've done that, I'm actually going to spray it again, but only around those fabric raw edges. So I know I'm showing you this picture here and it looks like I'm spraying it right on my cutting mat, but I did not do that, okay? Because I don't want to gum up my cutting mat. So I actually took the hexagon and kind of raised it in the air, and I just sprayed like around the hexagon edges. And yes, I did get a little overspray. It's all good. This is the most eco-friendly spray adhesive on the market, okay? It's air soluble. So after a couple of days, it's going to dissipate into the air, leaving no gummy mess at all. All right, really cool stuff. So after we have sprayed our seam allowance, right, now we're going to start folding those fabric raw edges toward the stabilizer and just sticking them down. See how nice it stays there? Perfectly straight along that folded edge because we're spraying it down with that spray adhesive. So then you can just continue around the hexagon, finger pressing, making sure you have nice crisp corners and edges and that it's stuck down to the back of that stabilizer. Then you'll follow suit with your other hexagon and they're going to look exactly the same. Very important so that the front matches up perfectly with the back. All right. So now that we have those, we're going to work on our shamrock motif. So this is why my felty looks a little odd from the wrong side, because I have that perfect applique fusible web attached to it. So you can do that or not. I chose to do a little gathering stitch just on the inside of my shamrock. So you're going to sew just a big gathering stitch. I just took a stitch into each little end of, the heart, if you will, of the shamrock. And then I pulled a little bit to gather it, which made the center kind of pop out a little bit. Do you see that? Now, at this point, you have a three-dimensional little shamrock, and you can kind of adjust it from the right side so that your shamrock leaves kind of, point upwards a little bit. Or you can fuse it down if you want. So here's what it looks like. Audition it over one of your hexagons that you've chosen to be the front, right? Unless you want to do one for both sides. Since this, swivels around and you'll see both sides, you might want to do one for both sides. All right, so you can have it be kind of 3D and just tack it down with a couple of stitches on, through your hexagon fabric and through that stabilizer. And then it would be kind of 3D in your face, or you can fuse it down and have it be a little bit flatter. So now we have our completed front and our hexagon back. We're going to put those wrong sides together and just clip the edges using some Clover Wonder clips, which are God's gift to the quilting community, right? Love me some Wonder clips. All right, so this would be very hard to pin through, quite honestly, because we have those layers of stiffy, 2 layers of fabric. Plus, I just didn't want to have any, kind of permanent needle holes, which can sometimes happen. Even if you're working with high quality quilting fabrics, a lot of the times you can snag it or something like that with a pin. So it's really, really preferred to use Clover Wonder clips for this. So once we've clipped it, now we need to prepare our little hanging strip. So like I said, mine is cut to 3/4 of an inch by 1 3/4. And I just wrap it around my D-ring swivel clip and clipped the ends. Now you will insert your hanging loop ends into the upper edge between the layers of hexis and just clip that in place as well. All right. So at this point, you can machine sew, just edge stitch around your hexis. And I made my stitch length a little bit smaller. So it's a 2.0 millimeter stitch length instead of your standard 2.5. Just because it's such a small project. And so I wanted my stitches to be a little bit closer together, right along the edge. So very, very carefully right along the edge to sandwich, making your hexagons one. So if you want to forego the sewing machine and you want to do this project on the go, or you want to teach somebody, or you don't have access to a sewing machine right now, you can whip stitch or slip stitch along the outer edges of your hexagon to enclose it. I was a little bit worried if I hand sewed it that my little hanging loop would not be as secure in in between those hexagons. So I chose to machine sew my key fob. All right. But if you're using a ribbon or maybe some felty, you could also hand sew. And I would do some extra stitches on the front and on the back to make sure that my hanging loop is nice and secure in between those layers. All right. So once you have done that, that's all there is to it. Your hexagon or hexi key fob is complete. So you can add your key ring to the D-ring, the key ring to the D-ring, and then you can clip this onto a backpack or a belt bag or inside your purse or something like this, and you're ready to go. So super easy, couldn't be simpler. You can personalize this, like I said, in so many ways. Choose the fabric print of your that you have hanging around, or pick out something that is really cute for St. Patrick's Day coming up. These would be so cute as teacher gifts, or maybe you have, a bunco group or, a sewing guild or something like that. You can create one of these for all of your members or all of your buddies, and everybody gets something a little special personalized to them. So you definitely can sew this in an afternoon, maybe even in an hour's time if you have all of these materials on hand. So really fun, great way to just spend the afternoon, get a little sewing time in, and quick and easy project. All right, Maureen says, I would cut one of the hearts down into a stem so it would be a true shamrock and not a 4-leaf clover. Great. And also I should mention the shamrock and clover template that I provided in the Sulky blog post. If you want to print that out, there's actually some 3-leafed clovers, 3-leaf shamrocks, and some 4-leaf clovers. So you can choose your own adventure there. You don't have to modify this clover. You can actually just choose the shamrock instead, and have the 3 leaves with the little stem. That is part of that applique template that's in the blog post. All right, love KK2000. I hear ya. So amazing. And you can get it for free shipping today. I just want to, nope, that is wrong. I'm going to start, I'm going to need some magnifying glasses. If I, continue to do this program much longer, so that I'm not making you all see all of my mistakes. All right. So anyways, you could get your KK2000 with free shipping today. You can get all of the stuffy bunnies that I was showing you today. Just load up your cart with all of these things so that you don't have to pay free shipping and can get all of these things. No minimum purchase. I mean, this is my favorite sale of the year, I gotta say. I am just not a person who likes to pay for shipping ever. Yes. All right. I do need more coffee. That's right. I'm going to have to go grab one. Something was happening to me today. Something was possessing me today. And it just was harder and harder to speak there. But I think I got a little bit better as we went along. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Gail. She says, always love your program. Thank you. Shamrocks. Perfect little gifts for St. Patrick's Day and Easter basket gift, using a cute Easter fabric. I love that. Again, definitely fussy cut your fabric so that you can center a little cute motif. If you know where you want to put your additional motif, or if you're going to embroider something on here, then maybe center your motif, or, move it over to the side a little bit to give you some room for your additional little cute 3-dimensional motif. If you have some other kinds of maybe even scrapbooking motifs and things like that, little pre-made roses or, ribbon roses, things like that would be really cute to kind of cluster along the side or something like that. All right. Easy way to find your keys in a messy purse. Oh, Maureen is saying, what's a bunco group? Yeah, bunco is just like a dice game. And I have a lot of friends who play bunco and they have like a monthly bunco group. So I just always kind of reference that. But maybe you have a card group or, you know, just a sewing bee group that you're a part of or something like that. All right, Dee says, very nice stitching, Ellen, crisp and clean. Love that. Thank you so much. You know, it really, really helps to have these die cutters or these fabric cutters because when your fabric is perfectly cut to size, it makes it so much easier to have your project looking perfect. You know, if I had to cut this hexagon just freehand, it would probably take me a lot longer. So I highly suggest using a template or using a fabric cutter. Starting with a hexagon that's perfectly cut to size is really going to help you out and make sure that all of your hexagons absolutely match when you're sewing them together. All right. Ronnie says, this is such a fun, quick project for all seasons and holidays. Absolutely cute keychain. Love that. All right. This would be a great first project for the grandkids to learn on. Absolutely. And you know what? If they are hand sewing, you could even do your hexagons out of the felty. It's just a little bit easier for your needle to go through when you're hand sewing. I find for smaller hands, for little people, sewing on felt, especially that felty, is so nice and so much easier. Especially if you're teaching a hidden stitch, like a slip stitch or a whip stitch. It might be a little more difficult for them, you know, to get the needle through both edges of fabric as well as that stabilizer layer. So making your hexagons out of felty and then maybe having them do a hand embroidery design, like the first letter of their name or something like that, would teach them, you know, the motions of sewing. Or of course, you could also help them at the machine as well. So great. Great ideas. Love all your fun ideas. Thank you so much. All right, perfect. Well, I'm so glad that you enjoyed today's quick and easy, short little project. Be sure to keep checking on the Sulky blog for this month of March because it is National Quilting Month, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more quilty ideas and ways to kind of incorporate quilting into your sewing, even if you don't want to create a big quilt project like a finished queen size quilt or something like that. We can incorporate things like English paper piecing, little hexagons, things like this into other projects to give it kind of a quilty vibe without that huge commitment of making a whole quilt. But of course, I'm also going to hopefully appeal to those who do want to make a larger quilt. Maybe you want to tackle your first quilt project. And I'm here for you, and we are also here for you on our education site at sewingonline.sulky.com, where we have lots of quilty inspiration and quilty tutorials as well. So I will see you over there next week for Kitchen Stitchin', and make sure you are registered because just for registering, we will give you this Kitchen Stitchin' applique machine embroidery bird design that you see right here on this kitchen towel. It does incorporate a bird die and a little wing die from the AccuQuilt from AccuQuilts, but if you sign up for this webcast and you grab up a kit, you will also get the bird as a template, the bird and the wing as a template, or you can create this machine embroidery design using traditional in the hoop applique methods. So no pre-cutting at all, and you can create it in the hoop of your embroidery machine. So all of these things will be revealed next Tuesday during Kitchen Stitchin' at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you can't join live, the replay will be available for you immediately following the live event. So as long as you're registered, you will have access to that and you can watch it anytime. We will also be making this mini oven mitt using AccuQuilt oven mitt dies and if you purchase up a kit, you will also get the templates. So if you don't have a fabric cutter quite yet, you can still create both of these projects using our beautiful kit, and get it today while the getting's good. Don't forget to jot down this coupon code: free shipping, no minimum. All right. What's the education website again, please? It is sewingonline.sulky.com. And if you're interested in registering for Kitchen Stitchin', I linked directly to the Kitchen Stitchin' registration page in the description of today's post, which is where you will find all the links to everything that I was talking about today. So click on that See More button, or more, depending on where you're watching from, and all of those links will pop out for you so you can head on over and register and shop for your kit and great deals that we talked about today. All right, have a wonderful, creative rest of your day, everyone, and I'll see you next Tuesday for